Hello, hello, my friends. I am grateful that you're here. And on behalf of folks that are here in person, we are grateful that you're here in person. My name is Mark Anderson. I serve as the President and CEO of the National Benevolent Association. And on behalf of MBA trustees, staff, disciples, ministries, and leaders who are part of MBA's extended community, we are grateful that you made the time today. And I'm excited about this opportunity to connect, exchange stories, and hear about the bold visions being lived out as we strive to create communities of compassion and care together. So some logistics here that I'm supposed to give you. For those who are online, feel free to open up your chat boxes. I see many of you have done and shared your location and share your comments and questions along the way. My MBA colleagues will be tracking the chats taking place, and when we get to our time of Q&A, we hope to be able to respond to some of those questions that you've placed in the chat. And then for my friends that are gathered here in this room, there are some comment cards available to you so that you can share questions that we can respond to as well later. So this town hall is not meant to be a one-way conversation, although at times it'll feel that way. We plan this to be a dialogue of learning, questioning, affirming, and we hope some moments of joy too. So the warmest of welcomes to you all. And for the presenters and speakers in this hour, thank you for being here. Your stories, your voices, your leadership make such an incredible difference in so many lives. My hope is that this time we can also be a time of levity and care for you. Even before we begin, I am grateful to each of you. In a recent meeting led by our MBA board chair, Reverend Orlando Scott, he introduced the idea and the following quote: "Community is a container of belonging. Belonging is important because it leads us from conversations about safety and comfort to conversations about relatedness, or how we practice hospitality, and maybe even what it means to be generous. Community and belonging, hospitality and generosity, compassion and care, equity and accountability. These are all words that you might hear if you were a fly on our MBA Zoom calls, or during our visits with our MBA partner ministries, our retreat settings with leaders in our peer learnings and wellness groups. These are commitments and practices which flow throughout our MBA mission, vision, and core values. We as MBA exist to inspire and connect the people and ministries of the Christian Church Disciples of Christ, to accompany one another in the creation of communities of compassion and care, and to advocate for the well-being of humanity. And we do this in collective partnership with you all. As the MBA, we work to provide education, companionship, inspiration, and resources for organizational and leadership development of health and social service ministries. While our programs and partnerships take many forms, our work focuses on three primary areas. We help nonprofit organizations develop with coaching, financing, and networks that not only help them launch, but make them powerful engines for change. We help nonprofit and congregational leaders deepen their abilities and skills to transform communities for the better. Through peer learning and wellness groups, continuing education, mental health and wellness tools, and access to mentors or experts in the areas that these leaders seek to make a difference. And we actively support strategies of community engagement to transform the root causes of social injustices. We call together communities to build relationships, share resources, and accompany each other in the work of justice. These three focus areas are part of a larger whole: empowered, sustained leaders and innovative, effective social enterprises lead us in our bold vision toward liberated communities and a more just world. Reverend Savatsky Bray Pope is the founder of Empower Hope Center, which is the social service ministry of New Century Fellowship in Louisville, Kentucky. Savatsky first connected with MBA by attending one of our SENT seminars for social entrepreneurs. The SENT seminar took place at a retreat center that was, as Savatsky reflects, one of the most beautiful places she has experienced. Part of what made that time so beautiful was that she could rest, find peace, and in the midst of a safe gathering of people and place, she was able to dream and create meaningful plans for the Empower Hope Center. Last fall, Empower Hope and Savatsky became one of our newest Incubate partners, which is a partnership between MBA and emerging enterprises to work together to create sustainable and healthy organizational structures. The mission of the center is to empower families, change lives, and bring transformation into the community. By offering financial, education courses for single mothers and professional development for young adults, Savatsky and Empower Hope are creating communities where low to moderate income range families are educated and empowered to achieve their hopes and dreams. Empower Hope receives MBA grant support, access to experts in fields relevant to their mission, and collaborative learning experience rooted in theological reflection. Our social entrepreneurship program, led by colleagues Darnell Fennell and Ashley Mayhem, is a powerful incubator for faith-rooted social enterprises. In the last 8 years, we have supported over 20 startup nonprofits through grants, mentorship, board development, and executive search processes, to name only a few key areas. We also count 32 social entrepreneurs who have engaged with our social entrepreneurship program through cohort groups, consultation, and strategic projects. Through our work with organizations and leaders, we collectively strive to dismantle systems and structures that have resulted in oppression and inequity. Our work with social entrepreneurs is deep and complex, and we join in the transformative vision of Reverend Pope and the Empower Hope Center, that we see and believe that hope changes everything. The MBA has had a long-running commitment to nurturing and supporting young adult leaders. We celebrate 7 years of supporting the vocational, spiritual, and leadership development of over 120 young people through the MBA Explore program, which concluded in 2020. We are humbled and inspired to be connected with these Explore alums and the many communities and professions that they have now entered. We remain committed to nurturing brave spaces for young folk to learn, challenge, practice, and build healthy and holistic identities so that they have what they need to live into their hopes and dreams for self and their communities. During MBA Explore, we experience conflicts, challenges, and inefficiencies of support systems that often centered around issues of race and racism, identity and belonging, all of which impact on the ability for the completion of the program, especially with BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color young adults. These profound learnings have informed our approaches to programming for and with young people. As we enter into a new season for our young adult leadership development programs, we are currently hosting a peer learning and wellness cohort group centered on the experience and leadership's needs of young adults leading in ministry in Hispanic, Latin communities. This cohort group has brought together, in partnership with Obra Hispana, our denomination's disciples ministry with Hispanic Latin communities. Reverend Bera Gil Soto is a co-convener of the Young Adult Leadership Experience, which is acronym is YALE, which is excellent. The values of service, generosity, humility, and care come across the intergenerations of community are not the themes that these individuals are troubled by. Those are the values and commitment that these leaders already bring into their work and can be seen throughout the communities that they help lead. Rather, what we hear, the importance of what they're needing, is tools for self-care and mental and spiritual wellness, strategies for communication and conflict resolution, and activities that inform cultural identities. These values and commitments also inform another young adult program. We seek to boldly support young Black women through vocational leadership and spiritual development that allows for a flourishing identity into strong Black leaders equipped to be transformational change in society and the world. With deep excitement, we look forward to a public launch later this year of what we are calling the Black Women's Leadership Experience, which will be infused with components such as identity formation, mentoring, culturally relevant leadership methods, service in the community, mental health and wellness, and theological activities grounded in liberation and justice. The Black Women's Leadership Experience creates an opportunity for a different kind of program that centers Black women's experience with the support and resources to help them realize their hopes and dreams for self and community. So please pay attention to our socials and stay connected with us for this launch that is coming. I hope that you hear that MBA's Young Adult Leadership Development Program is about co-creating communities with and for young adults. We affirm the process of discovery and affirmation of young people's leadership potential. As part of the church, we want young adults to know that we support them. MBA's commitments to justice and advocacy are represented in our community engagement programs. In the recent past, through a variety of tactics, including sign-on letters, awareness raising through marketing and education campaigns, to leadership training workshops and learning opportunities, we believe that as part of our mission as the Disciples Health and Social Services General Ministry to transform the root causes of social injustice. You are about to hear the voices of two incredible leaders, Alexis and Jocelyn, who help model our community engagement work. But before I introduce these leaders, I want to make a call out related to our prison and jail advocacy efforts that are a core piece of our community engagement work with disciples across North America. At almost 10 years, the MBA's Prison and Jail Ministries Initiative has been focused on supporting and advocating alongside those who work on behalf of our incarcerated siblings. We are committed to raising the awareness for the whole church related to issues of mass incarceration, immigration detention centers, and the role we can all take to address injustice and inequities throughout these systems. We give thanks for the accompaniment and justice work happening in prisons, jails, and detention centers by so many prophetic disciple leaders and faith communities. Another area that we focus our justice work is through peer learning and wellness groups. In the last 7 years, MBA has sponsored 81 leaders in 10 peer learning and wellness groups that cultivate community, centered on skill development, education, inspiration, justice, and well-being. The common areas of ministry represented within the cohort groups have included 4 prison and jail justice and advocacy groups, 4 nonprofit executive leaders groups, plus multilingual Latino clergy group, and a young adult Hispanic Latin pastors and leaders group. So now let me turn over to our first guest, who is joining us via Zoom, Alexis Tardy. And I think she's going to be there she is. Alexis Tardy is a minister and member of the National Benevolent Association's Peer Learning and Wellness Group, La Lucha, the Struggle. Currently, Alexis works as an organizing associate with the Children's Defense Fund. Before returning to Indianapolis, Indiana in 2020, Alexis was the program director at Faith and for the Sake for All, where she organized trainings and workshops to end racial disparities in St. Louis. She also mentored youth and worked with families and community leaders in Ferguson, Missouri. Alexis earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Public Affairs at Indiana University, Purdue University in Indianapolis, and a Master of Divinity from Eden Theological Seminary right here in St. Louis. She is currently pursuing a Doctor of Ministry in Womanist Preaching at Memphis Theological Seminary.
So I always say that my learnings of activism and resistance started with my mother, particularly love and resistance in the church. And my mom also raised me, teaching me stories about the civil rights movement. And that included like Ruby Bridges. Ruby Bridges was also one of my first examples of activism. And I learned about Ruby Bridges at around the same time that Ruby Bridges entered this school, which I think was like maybe 2nd or 3rd grade. So that was a big impact for me. And then I would probably say the second biggest impact for my activism was Ferguson. Being involved in the Ferguson movement was definitely life-changing. And ever since that experience, I've never been able to separate faith from justice.
And part of the MBA peer group, and kind of wondering about what that experience meant to you personally and professionally. And is there an image or story that helps convey what your time with La Lucha peer group has meant?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like the La Lucha peer group, which Bede actually introduced me to, so thank you, Bede, has been really a place of renewal for my life and for my ministry. Interestingly enough, this image in the top left corner of the PowerPoint maybe kind of summarizes it. I've actually never seen that picture, but I remember that was during one of our retreats, and it was like pouring down rain, but we kind of walked through nature together, one of the nature preserves. And it was really a transformational time for me. I think La Lucha has been a place of renewal also because it's a place where I have colleagues who are also deeply involved in justice, but the retreats are also about wellness. So not just focusing on justice, but what does it look like to care for each other as we pursue justice? And I haven't found a lot of places or organizations that do both. So La Lucha has really been a place of renewal for me, a place of rest for me, which I will always be grateful for. And I think also a place of real camaraderie and deep relationship with those who are in my cohort.
Alexis, that's fantastic to hear. Can you talk broader too about what is the role that community organizing can have within the Disciples Church? Do you see it happening now somewhere? And where do you hope that work can go and deepen?
Yeah, I think that community organizing should be a part of the Disciples Church as much as justice should be a part of the Disciples Church. I think some of the programs that was mentioned leading up to our conversation, and particularly Dean with the Prison and Jail Ministries, I've actually already started working with Dean around a particular campaign I'm connected to locally with the Defense Committee to Free the Pendleton 2, which are 2 political prisoners here in Indiana, John Baldwin Cole and Christopher Naim Trotter. We're working towards their release right now. And so I think community organizing really should be at the heart of the church, in the same way that I feel like justice should be at the heart of the church and at the heart of our gospel message. And I think the church has really has some untapped potential, because I think the world that we're in now, people are looking for something to do. They're looking for a way to change the circumstances around us. We're all faced with the same realities of mass shootings or police violence, police brutality, violence in general. And I think that we have a real opportunity to put our hand to the plow, and do justice work in our own neighborhoods and our own communities, but also to give a gospel message of hope while we do that. So hopefully, organizing and justice continues to deepen and be a part of the Disciples Church as well.
Alexis, thank you. I love that image of our hands to the plow. That is so beneficial. So thank you for sharing with us today snapshots of the kind of advocacy and change that you are working to bring about. I'm assuming you're sticking around for the hour in case there's questions at the end that we can jump you back on. But with the connections that we have built through the La Luce Peer Learning and Wellness Group, we look forward to accompanying and supporting you along this journey. So again, thank
you.
you.
Much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Joining us here in St. Louis is my colleague, NBA's Director of Mental Health and Wellness Initiative, Jocelyn Spence. Jocelyn has a wealth of experience in mental health and community care. As a licensed professional counselor and a registered art therapist, she is trained to provide trauma-informed services to diverse groups. With these skills, Jocelyn leads our comprehensive mental health and wellness initiative, which takes a collaborative approach rooted in sound and liberating theological understanding of mental health and wellness, effective and practical strategy for spiritual coping practices, and accessible and clinically informed education and resources. So welcome, Jocelyn. Let me pull up your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. And hello, everyone in the room and everybody online. And happy final day of Mental Health Awareness Month. May, if you did not know, is Mental Health Awareness Month. And this month, we provided some resources on gun violence and tools for grounding ourselves in crisis and stress. And so if you were unable to see our webinar that we held earlier this month on gun violence and mental health with General Minister and President Terry Hoare Owens, Reverend Terry Hoare Owens, and others, please do so on our site and our YouTube channel. So as we navigate living in a pandemic-informed world, our 2023 Mental Health and Wellness Initiative focus is on developing our wellness capacity for our partners, congregations, and the communities that we serve. And our Mental Health and Wellness Initiative does this work through 4 program areas: leadership, wellness, and corporate health, crisis care and support, mental health justice and wellness equity, and integrative wellness support. Our leadership, wellness, and corporate health and our crisis care and support areas focus on providing our partner organizations with support services, training and coaching for leadership wellness, clergy, disaster, and organizational crisis care as well. And most recently in this space, I was able to provide some retreat care to our historic partner organization, Southern Christian Services for Children and Youth in Jackson, Mississippi, in response to the overwhelm of the water crisis there in Jackson, the pandemic, the ongoing pandemic that we are in, and in support of the work the organization does to care for the trauma of the children in the community there. I also provided recently soul care conversations, which are 2 to 4 hour structured times for pausing and processing crisis, trauma, and other issues that an organization might be facing amongst themselves. And so we have done that a few times recently with some of the general ministries for the Christian Church Disciples of Christ. Our mental health justice and wellness equity area focuses on racial and ethnic outreach initiatives, LGBTQIA+ and outreach initiatives, providing wellness care for activists and organizers, and houses our mental health equity cohort. Under this area of our work, last summer for BIPOC, which is Black, Indigenous, and People of Color, Mental Health Month in July, we shared a 4-part series entitled Celebrating Stories of Our Cultural Resilience to celebrate and create sacred space for the mental health experiences of our Asian American, Pacific Islander, Black, and Latin Hispanic disciples. And this series can be found also on our website and our YouTube channel. We had wonderful conversations and sharings from a variety of people. And because of the success of that series, and what came out of that wonderful series, we will be hosting a BIPOC mental health roundtable this July at General Assembly. It will be on July 31st, and I would love to see you in the room if you will be there. And so focusing our work here is very important because we know that statistics show that people of the global majority or people of color in this country have less access to mental health care and wellness education, and that is a historical injustice. And when they do seek care, they don't always receive culturally relevant and effective care. And we know that Jesus came that we might have an abundant life, so we want to make sure that everyone has access to that. In addition, we recently held our very first BIPOC clergy retreat this month, actually last week, with national and regional leaders from across the life of the church, focusing on addressing the mental health and wellness of Latin, Hispanic, Black, Asian, and Indigenous clergy and leaders across the life of the church. Lastly, our mental health wellness equity cohort is an 18-month gathering of clinical professionals, clergy, and students who are focused on the intersections of wellness, equity, and the church. And our 2023-2024 equity cohort begins next month. Finally, mental health and wellness is not just its own initiative at MBA, but it is a vital part of every program area that we have. Thus, we have our final program area of integrative wellness support, which focuses on engaging mental health and wellness initiatives specifically for MBA's community engagement, social entrepreneurship, and young adult leadership development areas. And out of this space, I was able to write a wellness curriculum for our peer learning and wellness groups, which Alexis, as you heard, and is a part of one of those groups, and she has attended many of my workshops and gone along with the curriculum that I have provided for them. Most recently in March, we were together in Scottsdale, Arizona, and provided them with wellness tools through workshops on boundaries, facilitating yoga, and opportunities for art therapy together. I also provide mental health and wellness workshops and consultations for our SENT cohort groups. And one of the recent workshops with our executive leaders in our SENT cohort was around our relationship to sustainable rest, which we know must be centered as an entrepreneur and someone who is always on the go. In addition, I provided mental health resources and structure as we developed our young adult Black women's leadership experiences. So the expansiveness of this work of mental health and wellness across the life of the church requires great partnerships. So I am also excited that we will be hosting our 2023 Mental Health Professionals Conference, October 6th through the 7th in San Antonio, Texas, to gather and strengthen our network of clinical professionals to continue to eradicate stigma and provide access to effective mental health and wellness resources across the life of the church. And I look forward to partnering with many of you who are here today with us going forward in this work of mental health and wellness, because again, we can't do it alone, we don't do it alone, we all do this work of creating communities of compassion and care together. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Folks that are online, you are fortunate you don't get to see a video of me. We're having video technology, but I hope that you can hear our voices in Zoom. Jocelyn, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For those of us who see Jocelyn's work schedule, we know how much she's in demand for her professional skills and the tremendous leadership that she brings into any group, community, or cohort that she's invited. You call us both to look inward and outward in our work to care for ourselves and each other. So thank you, Jocelyn. Friends, in all of these stories and updates, we hope you have heard similar characteristics and commitments. 1, MBA is faith-rooted, based in the traditions and communities of the Christian Church Disciples of Christ, committed to an open table that welcomes all and to being the hands and feet of Christ in the world. NBA is social, focused on community-based, community-led visions for the flourishing of local communities. And third, MBA is entrepreneurial, innovative, disruptive, and committed to change. In so many ways, all three of these were attributes of Jesus' ministry. His ministry was rooted in faith and tradition. It was attentive to the needs of those he loved and served. And yes, it was disruptive, with a mission of transforming the world spiritually and materially. We, as disciples, carry forward that work we see as the spirit of our faith embodied and the future of our church in the world. And this approach to the work of faith and justice is rooted in MBA, where we come from, where we are today, and where we hope to go. Before we conclude our time together, there's one more person that I'm grateful and excited to introduce, the Reverend Dr. Jackie Foster, who serves as a member of our MBA Board of Trustees. In her years of ministry, Jackie has pastored in congregations across 3 disciples regions. She's mentored into ministry dozens of pastors and lay leaders. And she is an excellent teacher of disciples' history and thought. After serving more than 20 years at Compton Heights Christian Church here in St. Louis, she retired in 2021. Yet, of course, her ministerial leadership continues in many ways that she connects to local church, regions, and with general ministries such as MBAs. So welcome, Jackie.
Thank you, Mark. It is good to be here. It is good to be with this group present in this place and across the denomination. What excites me about NBA is that we are nurturing fresh, new ministries in response to the needs of God's people constantly. The creativity, the passion of the NBA staff is amazing to me. I'm excited about many of our ministries. I'm excited about Compassion Practice Plus in Beloved Christian Church. Don't you love that name? Beloved Christian Church in San Diego. It's a program for older adults that teaches compassion practice that is transformative for individuals and families and communities. And Beloved San Diego is now sharing that program with churches and individuals in other states across our denomination. I'm excited that Unleashing Potential right here in St. Louis received an NBA Mission and Ministry grant in 2022 to help build the foundation to expand their STEM program to middle school students. NBA supports social entrepreneur ministries such as Come As You Are Collective, whose mission is to accompany and resource queer and BIPOC communities with accessible to no cost spiritual direction and licensed mental health services. I had the privilege of participating probably a year ago now, at least, in the Co-Conspirator Summit to eradicate white supremacy with the Reverend Charisna Jean-Marie, who is part of our 2023 Social Entrepreneur Cohort. So from ministries that impact children and youth to ministries that impact young adults and older adults, from ministries with people who've been abused, to those who live with differing abilities, or those who are in prison or jail. In all of this, and in so much more, we are present through NBA. The span of NBA's reach and vision is hard to imagine. I often say when we've been in an NBA board meeting that I wish the whole church, every person, could experience what we experience. My spouse, Dave, and I make a recurring monthly contribution to NBA because we cannot imagine another way to make a transforming difference in so many lives, across so many needs, in so many places. Ours isn't a large gift, but it is consistent, and that matters. We keep saying yes to NBA because NBA helps us to be a part of the ministries that are truly being Christ's community in the world. We want to support NBA's peer learning and wellness groups so that those people who are daring to reach out in their communities in ways that are new and sometimes risking are not alone. Through NBA, we're able to support longtime disciples ministries that I remember from when I was a child. The Child Saving Institute in Omaha, Nebraska, and Southern Christian Services for Children and Youth in Jackson, Mississippi, both of whom still provide foster care and adoption and emergency services. And we support newer ministries like Broken, Mended, and Restored in LA. I had the privilege of going there and meeting their board. Oh my gosh. They bring hope and wholeness to individuals impacted by emotional, spiritual, and physical abuse. And Mission Behind Bars and Beyond in Louisville, Kentucky, providing community-based mentoring for those who've been released from prison. You've heard today some of the voices and the stories that make up the ministries of NBA. NBA builds communities of compassion and care in a world often starving for those values. The NBA community includes local leaders with vision, the staff and volunteers carrying out that vision, and people like you who minister and care for those in your congregations and communities. So I invite you to make a gift today to support NBA ministries. Your generosity allows this work to continue and to expand. On our donation page online, you can use the form to make a gift and even to start a recurring gift that allows you to give monthly. And what are those things called? The QR code. You can even use that. Every gift of generosity matters. On behalf of all of us in the NBA community, thank you for being a part of our community of compassion and care.
Again, thank you, Jackie, for your generous leadership. I am grateful for your leadership. At the beginning of our time, I named NBA's bold vision of liberated communities and a more just world. We seek to nurture and support communities of compassion and care in a world starving for these values. Our NBA community includes faithful leaders with vision, the staff and trustees that help carry out that vision, and supporters and donors like you who have resoundingly said yes to bold visions. Without you, these bold visions might never come to life. Your generosity and your partnership will sustain this work with prophetic leaders in communities everywhere. We need you to be part of our community of compassion and care. Only with you can we build this future, one leader, one organization, one community, and one vision at a time. Thank you. And with that, I'm going to invite my colleagues up so we can answer some questions, some comments that may have been posted online, as well as if there's anything in this room. And I need to switch over, not to that. Let me scroll on down. Thank you, thank you. Want to jump in?
All right. So our first question is, how can I get involved with the MBA?
Sure, jump in. There's a variety of ways.
Okay, well, there are a variety of ways to get involved with the MBA, just as you saw the QR code there where you can link to our website to be able to offer your financial partnership with us to be involved in how we lead out in this work. You also can go on our website and connect with us. We have a newsletter where you can click some different boxes on the side for any of the areas of MBA that you are most interested in partnering with, and then you will receive information from us on those program areas. You can also look up our mission and ministry grants to be able to apply and partner with us in those ways. And then when you go to our staff page, you'll be able to see who our program directors are, the different areas that we have, and connect with us by sending a message there if you would like to partner. I always love getting those messages from our therapists across the country and our other leaders who are interested in engaging the mental health and wellness work with us. As I said, we cannot do it alone, so we welcome your involvement in MBA on all levels that you can.
Let's see, what have we got? Someone says, I'm so intrigued by the peer group model NBA is leaning into. Can you tell me more about them? How can I join one?
So the peer learning and wellness group, there are a variety of ways doing that. Your easiest bet is to go to our website, and in our program areas, you can actually click on that particular area and see the various peer groups that we have going now. We also stay tuned to our socials because we'll post out when we have new groups that are forming and inviting people to join. Some of them, such as one of the peer groups that Jocelyn just launched, that is a peer group that we did applications for. And so encourage you to stay tuned to our socials as well as check out the actual page there on our website. Okay. We have one more? Yes? One more, hold on. On a phone here. I sometimes feel like MBA is overlapping with some other DOC agencies, Disciples of Christ agencies. Now I feel like there are some areas such as the new church area and chaplaincy could definitely be good areas to tie together with MBA. What conversations are there about this? Yeah, so this is a great question. We intentionally, the work that MBA is engaged in and that we work with, we don't do this work alone. So if there are ways that we are engaging in health and social service ministries, in wellness ministry, that is going to connect with other general ministries, we engage them in conversation. So New Church Ministry is one of those that we've engaged with them in conversation. They've been part of our SENT cohort for our social entrepreneurs, and vice versa. We've provided expertise and resources to that program of New Church Ministry with Disciples Church Extension Fund. So There are many opportunities that we connect with the various ministries, with Disciples Home Missions. There is the chaplaincy certification that they use. We also work with them to engage with chaplains about how they engage in our various programs and how we support them. So I think you have been patient with your time as well as the technology. So online, I want to thank you for joining us. You folks that are here in person, we do have some snacks. We hope you can stick around and enjoy that. So thank you very much for joining us.